Love it.
Craig!
I love that end bit.
Welcome.
That was great. Who wrote that?
That was written and produced by Seb Watts.
Seb Watts.
Seb.
So that was an entirely a cappella version, was it?
Pure a cappella version
yeah.
of our Hat Chat.
Quite nicely mixed as well, wasn't it?
Really well done.
Great harmonies.
Yeah.
Did you like that end bit?
I really.
Craig!
That was my favourite bit.
Yeah.
Craig!
Seb Watts, thank you for that fingle. Send your fingles to hatchat@hat-films.com.
A
Thank
fingle,
you.
if you're unaware of what that means a fan jingle. So if you want to give us an intro for our podcast, that could be heard by literally 5 people.
Dozens.
5
Dozens.
or 6. I think 6 maybe.
Yeah.
What's your name, by the way?
My name's Alex Smith,
Good,
also
nice.
known as Alan Smith, also known as Al Smithy.
Does anyone call you Alan?
Not enough.
They might do.
Quite
now.
a few
He's
people call
trying to
me
get it out
Alan in
there.
the comments
You'll
of the
probably
last
get
podcast.
that. Yeah, you'll probably get that now.
Yeah.
And your name is over
Chris
there? With your
Trott, Christ's bearer.
Wow. Fair enough. I think that is what it literally, isn't it?
Christopher.
It does mean that. And I'm Ross. Ross Hornby. Not Horny. That's so immature.
But what's your middle name?
Stuart.
You
With a T,
sure?
not steward, as you misspelled it on our business, our company.
I don't remember misspelling
You
it.
must have done because it's on there. Somebody pointed out it's on our company's house, like our company literally says Ross Stewart Hornby.
Yeah. Well, my Minecraft award says Chris Stott. So
Oh yeah, it does. Yeah, Chris Stott.
You need a nice, easy to remember name like Alan Smith.
Alan. It's so easy, but then you do get held up at customs. So
I do.
Alex, yeah.
I do.
for having such a generic name.
Oh, it's so
Anyway,
annoying.
that's not the theme for today.
No,
what is
no,
the theme
no.
for today?
The theme for today is music just music. That's broad enough, isn't it? To
It's
say music.
extremely broad.
It's too broad.
It's like
Craig.
saying art.
Craig, have you
crazy.
heard music before?
I haven't, but I'm looking forward to someday.
Sweet.
Yeah.
One day we'll let
He's
him.
brave. He's a brave guy.
Talking of music, we
Yeah.
got all these plectrums. On
Got some
the table
plectrums
right now.
made, didn't we? So we have a house band, if you
Yeah.
will, that we've been part of, called Mr. Sam and the Dead Nuts.
Mr. Sam being our drummer
Yep.
extraordinaire. He
And
is
mixer and music.
Engineer.
Producer.
Yeah. Savant of sorts.
Well, that requires him to have a really high level of skill in a very specific field,
Yeah.
He
but
does.
also come with a horrible caveat.
Well, it's
He-
hand jobs.
He has an audio. He's an audio savant.
And a hand job
Can we-
savant.
A hand job savant. Can you be a savant in anything?
Yeah.
I
Can you
think
just
so.
be like, well, I'm a savant at putting t-shirts on.
Yeah, it's like a.
Is
it's like
that
being
that's such a generic like? Wow.
Have you seen some videos of like people in production lines like just really
Yeah.
nailing folding clothes or something like that?
Well
There
practiced.
are savants out there for that.
I
Absolutely.
don't know if you'd call them a savant though.
I don't know. There's
I really don't.
Virtuoso
almost
then.
I think we're
certainly
overusing the term
a-
savant for an expert.
There's a scientific diagnosis, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
I'll look up the definition
Right.
of savant. How about
Differences
that?
between expert and savant, please, because I don't want to start throwing that term around. If I start going, we've listened to a load of savants about Brexit, and they, don't recommend it. You're like, I don't listen to savants. I only listen to experts.
I think savants is probably based on skill, right? Rather than
Yeah.
knowledge.
Savant.
That's just how to pronounce
Savant.
it.
Well, they've-
Savant.
Savant.
That's not right.
Am I saying it wrong?
I think we're trying to say it in the French way, right?
Yes, savant.
Oh,
Savant.
Wow.
So
I feel stupid
the
now.
Cambridge English Dictionary definition of savant is a person with high level of knowledge or skill,
Oh, it is knowledge. Okay.
especially someone who is less able in other ways.
Ah.
So it's like
So Sam
really
is a
good at
savant.
that thing,
Mhm.
but everything else is a detriment or is lacking as a result.
What if Sam's really shit at like maths? That way, he is a savant because he's terrible at maths but really good at.
I think it
audio
needs to be
Put it
production
on
like-
t-shirts.
and putting on t-shirts. Yeah.
It's usually a
Puts him
case
on
of
well.
there are musical savants
Mm-hmm.
who are very awkward physically. That's literally a
Say that.
thing on the Cambridge
Oh,
until they sit at the
you
piano.
you broke one of the plectrums. You have a
it
broken
just snapped
plectrum.
in my hand.
Wow, that's not a good advertisement, is it?
I'm
You've only got 4 you then.
Well, it's 39 now.
39.
These are the ones that we're giving away at YogCon, of course. If you're
Yes,
there,
if you're in the
you
crowd.
might, you might receive one.
This one, you might even get bits of it. So the reason we actually wanted to do the podcast about music this week is because we are doing a performance and our own convention, YogCon. And as Ross already said, our house band. We're going to be performing a lot of the stupid songs that we've made up over the years, largely during music live streams that we do at Christmas for charity and things like that.
Yeah.
It literally all came out of that, in fact.
It's a lot to talk about, and we can expand it. You know, people like to ask us sometimes, what kind of music do you like, for example?
Yeah.
And I say to them, strictly religious choral stuff.
Oh, religious
choral.
choral.
Yeah.
Choir-based
Not
music
gospel.
all the time.
Straight from the Holy
Nothing
Book.
with too much energy.
No, straight from the Holy Book.
Yeah,
reciting.
Down-tempo choir music.
Bright and beautiful. The ones that, like, when you're occasionally find yourself in a church and people are just expected to know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How does everyone know that?
Okay, and we're going to go for hymn 43.
It's heavily ingrained
Psalm.
School.
Yeah. It's really
Oh,
weird.
I know this one.
It's always haunting as well. Kind of scary.
Yeah, that freak you out. All things bright and beautiful
Trying to remember
is haunting.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Oh, it's awful. I hate it.
I mean, it's a shit song.
I hate so many of those songs.
All of it has that church-like reverb, which is just terrifying.
And I mean, obviously, you've got a mixed bag of abilities in the audience as well, right? So, like, you know, some people really go all things, and then you're just there like all things bright and beautiful, just trying to get it over with.
Yeah, it's
Remember
awkward.
when I was at
as
school?
hell.
Did you do choir at school?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was actually
primary school.
tenor.
Of course you were.
Uh,
I bet
in
you
a-
can hit those high notes. Well, you can now.
Now he
anyway.
only gets a $5 for it.
It's 'cause he's old and his balls have dropped.
Poor.
I actually mimed throughout the choir thing.
Weren't you in
In
an
fact,
official? You got put into it though, right?
I got put into it because of my great miming.
He was so
Like,
good.
because they didn't ask us to do it individually. We were all singing, and I was just like, I'm shit at singing. I don't want to do this. And then so I just mimed, and they were like, "Oh, you sound great." I was like, "Fantastic miming."
Didn't even say anything.
No.
Thumbs
Kept the mime up.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
I know. And then we sang. I think it was "My Heart Will Go On" in a
Seriously,
Celine
Literally.
Dion.
Celine Dion.
at the I think it was a mall in Swindon.
Ah.
Great.
So can you pronounce it how English people are meant to pronounce it?
A mall.
I hate it so much.
Mal.
Yeah,
you're going down
apparently-
to the mall
Oh.
or mall.
So the English accent and pronunciation of it should be mal, but we say hall, HAL. It's one
Yeah,
of
it's
those ones
mall.
where you're just like, well, that doesn't make
Mall,
any
hall.
sense. We already,
Yeah, but mal I would associate like pal. You're not saying if
yeah, but
That's one
pal
L.
is spelled with one L.
yeah. We're not savants at spelling.
Don't worry, I got Cambridge English Dictionary on this.
Oh, here we go.
Here's the UK.
Who are you pointing? What?
Huh?
Says mall.
Is he saying Yanni or Laurel?
And then here's
Why do
the
they sound
US.
so constipated?
Mall.
Oh,
Mall.
it's just extended. Okay.
I mean, obviously we say mall,
I can't believe we had to-
Mall.
like
can't
a
believe we
like
had to
a
Google
weapon.
that.
Yeah. Anyway, well, I was told that it was pronounced mal.
By who?
By
That's what I'm saying, because this Cambridge English Dictionary says
I don't
otherwise.
know where that pronunciation came from, but I'm almost
Maybe
certain.
European? Is it like a European thing? don't know.
Maybe, but then again, they have different
Mal.
languages,
Mm.
so you know,
That's
down
true.
to that. Anyway, music. So we've written a lot of songs over the years, drawing on our various backgrounds in musical talent.
I will say most of them are thrown like disposable Kodak pictures.
Yeah.
They're joke songs.
They're joke songs which we
Clown
come up
music.
on the fly. We're not like sat in a room creatively songwriting, but they just like happen on stream as it happens. People feed us ideas, or we have an idea of our own, and then we just start making it straight away. We just start singing or start playing and make it as live.
Well,
And
it's-
then some of them turn out all right.
It's like that Uber driver we had yesterday who was kind of like really
Yeah.
trying to come to terms with the idea of even creating anything. And because we were like, oh, we just did some like band practice today. He was like, oh man, you guys are so creative. Like I can't even think of anything creative. And it was quite a weird conversation.
I like to sing. I like to sing, but
And-
I can't make the
And
songs.
we were just like, oh, okay then. Sorry about that. Like I don't know what to say. I mean, we didn't mention that they were joke songs because ultimately
Said it
I
was
feel like anyone
for
can come up with
fun.
some of the music we've
Comedy. Yeah.
I think that music can sometimes baffle people a little bit because I think most people understand or have a fairly good idea of what sounds good or right.
Yeah.
So, you know, for example, like with chord structure and things like that, and when something's in a certain key, there are usually various other chords or notes that go within that key, right? So, like, but that sounds quite overwhelming to some people. It's like, so you got G, right? So a lot of our songs are in the key of G because it's easy as shit. And so basically G, C, and D are the most likely sort of notes that are going to be within the key of G when we're, writing songs, and what it tends to be. So you wouldn't.
They sound nice next to each other. When you
Exactly,
play
like-
those notes at the same time, they are harmonious.
Exactly.
They don't sound off or wrong.
Mhm.
It's nice.
And when you tell a person that who perhaps hasn't spent a lot of time around like playing music and all that sort of stuff, rightly so, it sounds completely confusing. You're like, what do you mean? It's a sound.
But it creates a mood as well. So that, for example, is a major. Major key is happy, uplifting, nice. If you augment one of those notes and make it like a flat or like a note down, semi-note down or up, it creates like a sad, like minor, so it's like sadness and melancholy.
You're almost telling like a tonal story. So like you say, like if something goes from a major key to a minor key, or like you say, you switch out like a certain note within it to something else, it almost goes like, and yes, we were really excited about this, but then the darkness came. You know, like
gout.
Do you know what's really interesting though? I've got 2 facts about music. One is that is very much a cultural thing. It's not an innate genetic thing.
Right.
So, for example, in Asian countries, minor keys, certain minor keys that would be sad and down and that kind of thing, bluesy, are actually uplifting and happy. It's just a trained thing. It's a cultural thing.
Oh, really?
And other happy major
tell
keys
kind of
can be
that.
sad. So that is it's a trained thing, a learned thing.
I think an interesting example of that is when you see those compilations on YouTube of all the songs that basically use the same chord structure.
Oh yeah.
It's a good structure, and that's why all these songs keep to it, whether it's the same tempo or not, and why so many people get sued for copying pretty much the same music, which in fact was a recent article, wasn't it, about Katy Perry, was it?
Right.
Dark Horse.
Right.
That compared with another song was kind of similar. Like it's a very basic chord structure, but
it's
she got
difficult
sued and
territory.
apparently won, but
It's difficult territory. You're limited to the amount of notes available on the spectrum of frequencies. They are put in a certain way, especially pop music, where it's manufactured and produced, churned out, if you will, because we know this works as a tried and true method. And if you create this certain pattern, people love it, and therefore all the people that are writing music for Katy Perry, because people do that. I don't know if Katy Perry actually.
Nah, she'll
writes
use writers. She'll
that was
definitely use
written by
writers.
3 other people, I think.
Yeah.
Either way, those producers produce these songs for people. Other people buy them and make them, and they know what works. And there's gonna be times where they're very, very similar. Even like the vocal melodies on top of the bass notes. Yeah, it's gonna be real similar.
Ed Sheeran's done it a couple of times. Well, where his songs have been in disrepute because of it.
I mean,
and they do sound similar, but like,
unless
there's
you're
so
doing
much music out there. Like, how will it not sound a little bit like it?
everything has been done to a point where it's like these notes have been put next to each other in this arrangement before. It's like whether the tempo is different or the different instruments or a different genre, it's been done before. And I mean, ultimately the only thing that changes it is the musician themselves performing it. The style of music that's in and the lyrics which make it different. And I don't
like we all probably know, I think most people probably know at least one Johnny Cash song, right? So like Ring of Fire would be an obvious one. But if you actually listen to Johnny Cash's back catalogue, fuck me, there's some really boring shit in there. Like, like there is a lot of the same kind of thing. So like he'll use chord he'll use chord structures that are the same chord structures for his bigger songs. You know, so some some of his songs will be, this sounds like he's about to play this, and then he'll just start doing a different note over the top of it. And like it really goes to show that like certain styles or certain themes kind of you can't help but avoid some form of repetition.
At the same time though, if you played that song, you'd know it's a Johnny Cash song because of all those different variables of what Johnny Cash is put together. It's the chord progression, it's the way he plays, like dun 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 dun. That's a Johnny Cash
and it's
thing.
the story he tells.
His voice on top and the lyrics and the content.
It's quite hard for people to break certain styles. Like a Coldplay song, like from it's going to be a Coldplay song. You hear it, that's definitely Coldplay. Like even though it's several years later, different kind of tracks or whatever, but
and they have to
you can certainly pick it out.
They have to contend with making a living out of it as well. So even if they want to break out and do something different, oftentimes the fans that enjoyed the first album are like, whoa, just go back to the...
and I've been guilty of that as well, because I think like certain... in my mind at least, like bands, you attribute certain feelings and ideas with certain bands' music. Like there are some obviously that are all encompassing, but certain things are like, oh, I really feel like listening to some like fast heavy rock or something like that, or some like really introspective kind of down folk music, and when an artist does sort of challenge that medium, it can elicit results. Like with us, like you say, most of our songs are jokes. Like in fact, like almost all of our songs are jokey content or do something ridiculous.
We're not really putting the music first in the sense of
more
like
parody
this
of
is
other stuff.
Yeah,
right?
It's more like the content of what we're talking about is funny,
Yeah.
and we got good enough music underneath it to make it sound good. Right? We're not putting music first, whereas like this is really good music, and it's got.
And I think we get a bit of a free pass because of that, because sometimes like a couple of our tracks I really like the musical accompaniment to.
They kind of come together,
but then obviously the lyrical content is meant to be funny, it's meant to be fun, like and sometimes you think, oh, maybe we should have like actually tried to write a serious song, but then you're like, well, then nobody would fucking care about it. Like nobody would listen to it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what we're known for, and breaking the mold, like I said before. People would be upset about that, or just make another joke song, please.
I think it'd be weird if we did serious music.
I think so.
I don't even know how we would do it, to be honest with you. Like, what would we start talking about?
And also, you'd have to kind of stick with almost a style, right?
Yeah. It
couldn't just be, here's a funny rap song, and then a ballad or whatever.
We've gone like the Lonely Island route in the sense that we just create parody songs. They take different themes based on the content of what they're talking about. This is a song of Captain Jack, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And Flat, obviously, was just about flat Earth.
Yeah.
It was just a dumb flat Earth joke. I like that one, though. I like the way that one turned out. I like the way most of our stuff's turned out. It's just, apart from Newt Newt, which I still haunts me, which is one of the weirdest songs
in Newt Newt.
But that's a kind of example of like when you're put on the spot to just make something there and then. Because I do find that leading up to those streams, it's kind of stressful, personally. I'm kind of thinking, like, this could either be completely shit, because we're trying to do, like, 6 or 7 songs in, like, a very short period of time. Or you'll come up with an amazing one, you'll be really happy with it, and we tend to get at least one really good one. Yeah. And then the rest are kind of, like, rushed together. And sometimes the improv ones, where we don't even try at all, are the best ones. Yeah. Pleasure Elf. Everyone loves that one, and that was kind of like a very rough.
It's also one of the first ones we did where we didn't have that pressure on us to do anything like that. It was new, and people were just tuning in like, what the hell? And it was new to us as well. There's no catalog before comparing it to like, oh, this isn't a Pleasure Elf. So it's weird how it changes your mindset.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, because I remember at the time it was like we had the verse bits and we were like, right, we need some sort of hook or chorus. It's like, what do you guys think of like, meh, 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 meh. You're like, yeah, right.
That's funny. Yeah. We're laughing at that.
The more dumb, the better, really. Yeah. That sounds really stupid. Yeah, let's do that one.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, the more you try, the less successful it is. Yeah. Really, because you're trying too hard for the music element rather than the funny. Which is what we're known for. So
it's super hard to like make music when you're not in the right state of mind as well. Yeah. Like with the Newt Newt thing, we were like forcing that to work,
and we were just like oh god.
So not only did we do music streams for charity like once a year, and in December we did a big long 6-hour stream where we came up with most of these songs, and then we decided these are very successful. Let's try doing music streams throughout the year, and that's where Newt Newt came from.
We did Flat first.
We did do Flat,
and then Flat came out really well. We were really happy with it.
We were on the ball that day, and then
you'd already made that like track essentially, right? You'd made the backing for it.
Yeah, a Flat.
Yeah. Like you already had like a lot of like the structure and the hooks there, which I think
and
really
the idea was solid as well.
Yeah,
like,
there's so much to talk about. Like
with Flat Earth theory, it's funny and it's trendy at the moment.
Stupid. And like,
we kind of did it before this whole like behind the curve thing came out as well.
Yeah.
Flat Earth theory becoming a big staple.
Like we were laughing about like how would you prove that the world isn't round? And we were like, well, you put a stick on the ground.
Just really dumb theories.
That bitch stays flat because the Earth's not round. You know, like just this real like sort of in your own garage tier of science, which was so fun to.
Well, I saw it.
Yeah.
Therefore, it is.
Yeah, I mean that was better because it was obviously the bass line was kind of already prepped and stuff, and we kind of just worked with that. Whereas on the spot, like it can be really good because it pressures you to kind of get it done. Right?
Yeah.
Because then you're just like
finish things.
Half the time I've got so many tracks which I started and never finished.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this sounds really good, and you're kind of like, I don't know where to go with this, so I'm just gonna leave it there and move on. And several years later. Like Pixel Dust took me 3 years to make, just because I just left it.
Yeah.
Like I started making it, then I just thought,
it didn't actually take 3 years. It was just a case of I didn't want to get round to it. Or I didn't feel like it.
I think there was a video which we needed music for, and I was like, I could probably just finish this
pretty
quickly. And then that was kind of the inspiration to just get it done.
I have made so many songs for hat films or trailers that I would never have made.
Mm-hmm.
However, I've got a huge interest in making like big orchestral, like bombastic things like that.
Well, you've done some before, like for like Origins. Darren mentioned it.
Yeah.
Which sounded really cool, and like that kind of thing worked in trailers as well, like you said.
Oftentimes, like back in the day, we felt like it was necessary to do everything ourselves. And so making trailers, like bespoke trailers for Mojang, Minecraft, big deal at the time for us. Like, oh my God, the exposure. We're not getting paid. The exposure.
It worked.
It really worked.
You know.
At the time, we wouldn't endorse that kind of thing now, but we made everything from scratch, and so I made the music.
Yeah. So we wouldn't get a strike.
We get a strike because we were still coming out of that university mindset of, copyright is a big deal.
That was the first thing we were kind of taught, was just make sure you have the rights to everything. Ask permission for it. In fact, we probably have that to thank for getting in touch with Mojang in the first place. Like we emailed them and said, "Are we allowed to use footage of your game in our videos? Here's a clip of one of the videos
on YouTube." Yeah,
and they said, "We like this. Can you want a promo for an event they were going to?" And that's literally how it started. So that mentality literally probably helped us get to where we are now, which is amazing, really.
Well, it allows you to reach out to people, which is good. It networked us.
But it's important to take those things into consideration, because you look all over the place now, everyone's just like, oh, I've got copyright strikes. What's this for? Well, you just used fucking Britney Spears Toxic over your fucking vlog. Well done.
That's someone's property.
Stolen someone's music. Well done.
Yeah.
I think that was a good mentality to go in with, but hard to keep up making your own music for like every video when you're trying to release daily.
Thankfully,
content.
there are services out there now like Epidemic Sound, which create awesome songs, which we could never have the time to do.
Yeah, some really good stuff on there now. It's really
good
stuff I would listen to in my spare time. Like, it's nice.
Anyway, back to the music that we make. Smith, you were in a band of sorts.
See, this is something I was actually going to say.
Because your Warden song, our community just
love that song.
It's haunting. Haunted us.
Are you annoyed by that now? Is that
no, I'm not. No, obviously, I
love.
Just
like, oh, so old.
This is the thing. Like, it doesn't really sit in our pantheon of musical style. Yeah. So, like, it was a very serious song. Well, sorry, I'm not by any way bigging me up when I say this, but like, essentially, I read. So there was a thing on Reddit years ago, which I found morbidly fascinating, which was literally a list of death row inmates, the last things they said before they died. And so like the little statements they give and all this sort of stuff. And I'm very much against the death penalty, obviously. And I just found it interesting how like they're just like human beings who are just like fucked, obviously. Like, I'm not saying that these people aren't bad people. Of course they've done terrible things, but it was interesting in like the last moments of their life how they were just like, I'm sorry for what I did. It was stupid. I'm ready. And like they would often say, "I'm ready, Warden," at the end for when they were going to get executed. And that like, obviously is very profound and very dark. And I was just like, "Wow, that's really powerful." And so I wrote a song about it.
It's no pleasure off though.
Exactly. And what's funny is like, we would be performing stuff like Pressure Elf and all that sort of stuff, and the people are like, play Warden. It's like, I'm not going to sing a song about
in the middle of this,
people dying from the death sentence.
It's a time and place, right?
Exactly. But what I was going to say was like, you guys talking about like, obviously, I know you've watched and done a lot of the orchestral stuff with like actual considerations of like how all the instruments sound and like, like
Screaming Twig.
Like, yeah.
Is that it, Twig?
Piccolo?
The screaming, I think so.
I think it's Screaming Twig.
But like you had to think about that from a digital, like making real instruments that are digitally recorded into making them sound real again, and then obviously with like all of the digital composition of all of the actual like less traditional instruments, so to speak. You've done that. Like that's not really something I've ever had to learn about or
it's
know
more like
about.
Music production aspect rather than performance.
Yeah. Whilst with me, like, pretty much the whole thing is lyrical content for me. Like that's the main thing that I can
Is that
do.
what you look for when you listen to music? It's always lyrics first.
It's not,
or lyrics are a priority.
Lyrics are very, very important. Like I think that like just from my personal enjoyment perspective, not I know pop songs, things don't have to be like fucking poems every time, but the kind of music that I listen to,
boom boom boom,
I want you in my room.
That's that's interesting, because obviously you go for lyrics. I actually prefer listening to music which doesn't have any lyrics.
I'm more that way
like
inclined.
Just musical.
It's the soundscape of instruments and how they perform and blend together. So maybe that is why we predominantly focus on the production of the music, like the backing almost, and you focus on the lyrics and the content.
Yeah,
kind of fell into that just organically, really, with the way we worked.
Yeah.
In terms of like what you guys have learned instruments professionally, like properly, or like have you got any grades, or have you just like kind of
I'm grade 4 oboe.
Oboe, wow,
yeah,
really?
Yeah,
man.
I'm quite high grade clarinet. I can't remember which high.
Man,
how
I don't
high
think I've
it
ever
was.
heard you play a clarinet.
It's pretty good.
Perfect,
it's the same
good.
fingering as an oboe.
Yeah.
And same as a saxophone, same as a flute. They all have the same.
Why did you do those?
School. It was just I wanted to play saxophone. They said you have to play clarinet first.
Oh, okay.
Ended up just playing clarinet through all of secondary school, and I got to like grade 7 or something like that.
That's pretty good.
So same thing. School said to me, like, if you're interested, you can learn a musical instrument. Here's the list, and on it was this thing called an oboe. I had no idea what an oboe was, so I went, yeah, fuck it, I'll go for an oboe. That's literally why I learned it.
Really?
I was like, I don't know what this thing is. I'll try playing an oboe. Turns out it's a really difficult instrument to play.
Yeah,
it's got like a
Jesus Christ.
Also, like the
quite complex.
maintenance of these instruments as well. Like I had a clarinet which I got from a charity shop. It comes in like 4 or 5 pieces.
Yeah.
You have to go to the local garage and get Rizzlers.
Oh,
so
really?
I always got questioned because you put them in between the reed at the top.
Okay.
And that's the bit that makes the music, the vibration of the reed.
They use Rizzlers, and they're not like proper.
The Rizzlers are used to clean it, aren't they?
Yeah, it's like a cleaning to like get
You're not
rid
just
of
like
the-
doing like a grass.
No.
So essentially, it's
Yeah,
that.
I know
so,
that's-
so like
it's
woodwind
a glorified
instruments.
that.
Yeah.
Woodwind instruments like the clarinet and indeed the oboe use reeds to generate the vibrations, which are then go into the instrument, and you press buttons to restrict the airflow, and that changes the tone. But the thing about reeds is they're really fucking disgusting because you have to wet them up before you play
with
them.
your spit.
With your spit.
Yeah.
And it just like
So-
dries. And,
and so things like Rizzlers can be used to like wipe the dry. It's really grim. And so the clarinet has a single reed, so you place it against the mouthpiece. But an
With
oboe
a-
actually has a double reed, which just sticks out the top.
Oh yeah, it's just
Oh,
like
And you have to like get it really wet, otherwise the tone doesn't sound good. It's fucking horrible. All right, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think I really enjoyed learning to play the oboe. And then
it's also like putting for a clarinet, it's like putting a thumb in your mouth because you've got like the clarinet, which is literally this shape.
Yeah.
You got the reed, which is like the thumbnail, and you're just like just a big fucking thumb.
Yeah.
Like I'm sucking on a giant's thumb.
Yeah.
Here, and blowing into it. It's weird.
I wish I'd learned the piano to start with, if I'm honest with you.
So I did
that's
piano
the
as
first
well,
thing I did.
graded.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah.
What did you go to?
Like I started at 5 years old because a neighbor.
5 years old. That's
Yeah.
impressive.
So a neighbor was a piano teacher.
Yeah.
And Craig's mum.
Craig's
Seeing
here.
if he's listening.
There's no camera on
Just seeing if
Craig.
he's
Budget
listening.
constraints.
And she was like a professional teacher of music, so I was very lucky
Yeah.
to just be like, I'll go over to your house and then she can teach me proper music. Like, so that's why I'm not too bad at like just innately playing it. My theory's not as good as it could be. I did all the basics, so I've got that down.
Theory.
Did you
I
get
did-
taught piano?
I did, but I didn't take it to any grades because I got
Yeah.
just so wound up by having to do the theory. Like amongst doing homework, and I was like, I've got to do theory as well. The only reason I started doing piano was literally my dad wanted an excuse to buy this
nice
like
big
big
piano.
digital like piano that he was like,
Nice.
I want to get this, but like no one actually plays it. He just wanted to mess around on it, and so I was like, I'd be interested in learning, but I kind of just preferred playing by ear. Which
Yeah, it's
I
often the
prefer,
way.
listen to stuff and then starting to create my own stuff.
I think it's actually probably a better learning like mechanism to play by ear first, then ask for tuition, because
Get your ear pitch sorted out.
I wanted to learn to play the guitar after the oboe, but I
Same.
stupidly bought a cheap electric guitar first, and I was like, oh fuck, and I wasn't learning shit, and my teacher wasn't great either, but I stopped playing electric guitar and learning electric guitar. About a year later, I got given an acoustic guitar, and I picked that up when I started. Like, I knew basic chords already, and I knew how to read tabs. And that's basically where my actual love of playing the guitar came from. Or not really even playing the guitar. I don't really care too much about playing the guitar, if I'm honest with you. But
So, an
writing
accompaniment
songs,
to
exactly.
it,
The
yeah.
ability to write songs is where I found that want, because I think a lot of kids get instruments put in front of them when they're young, and they'll do it, they'll go to the lessons, all that sort of stuff, but you don't really care
Unless you have a passion for it, yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, the good thing about that was learning basic music reading, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't think I could. It would take me. If someone showed me a sheet of music now, it would take me a long time to just kind of
FACE,
and then I'll probably try and
graph.
learn it rather than read it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Where some people can read it and go, okay, I'm just going to play it straight away.
It becomes a language. It's a
could
language.
never do that. But I just love fucking around in like Logic and playing with different sounds. And obviously now with music production, you don't even need like a keyboard. You can just start clicking on
MIDI notes
and start creating stuff
around. Yeah,
essentially, it's very much become like an editing process. And there are some people I listen to like Flume, like he doesn't know how to play an instrument properly, or he doesn't know piano and stuff.
It is.
And
it
he'll
becomes
create
an
some
instrument.
amazing sounds and soundscapes just through kind of the technology, which is
you don't
very
need to be able to play an instrument in the traditional sense. Like the tools are an instrument because it creates sound, in my opinion. So if you can make something that sounds nice out of it, I don't think there's this whole elitist attitude in the audio world where it's like, you need to be able to read music and blah blah blah, and audiophiles as well that think FLAC make any sense. Just calling out right now. It makes no difference if you got an MP3 at the highest bit rate versus FLAC. No fucking difference.
So FLAC is
call me out if you want
something called a lossless codec, which means there isn't any compression.
What's OGG?
Right?
Is OGG another one? Is that?
Yeah, they're all different file types that are compressed in different ways.
They're just annoying to work with. But
so no difference. Don't send me FLAC files.
From a personal perspective, do you guys feel like you can? I know it's probably something you can't list off the top of the head, but if you had to say your 3 favorite bands, let's say, or 3 favorite musicians, or again, you don't need to be I need to be absolutely sure about this. But what would you say are your 3 biggest influences, or your 3 sort of go-to things that you'll always love?
Okay.
Right. Oh man, it's kind of hard. I listen to a lot of EDM style stuff, which I don't really think it stands the test of time always. There's some stuff which from there's a guy called High Contrast who's made some really good tracks that I like, but then there's loads of real shit tracks he's made that I hate and I wouldn't listen to. So it's but stuff recently that I'd probably not get too tired of is some of Flume's earlier stuff's really good. Actually, I've warmed up to his new album a bit, but I feel like that's like a mixtape and it's not necessarily
it very much is
best stuff. But
what about Bon Iver, for example?
I do like Bon Iver, although I'm not really that. I don't enjoy their new stuff that much. I really like, and their stuff from the stuff you introduced me. I think the first I heard of them was when we were literally filming Such a Filthy Day. You showed me at your house and I was like, oh man, this is really good.
Yeah.
Was that For Emma Forever Ago, that album?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. That stuff. And since then that stuff's been really good. When I was younger, I listened to a lot of indie kind of stuff. I like Lost Prophets, which now I don't. It's one of those things where you can't listen to it at all now. It's just
sing it from the rooftops.
I just don't want to hear the dude's voice. I read the court stuff and it's just horrible. It's fuck me.
Sorry, you shouldn't laugh.
Isn't that weird how you can just piss over an entire legacy of stuff? Just
it's an interesting point of contention though, because it's can you separate the art from the person?
Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of people.
Are you allowed to listen to it anymore?
I mean, this is a little segue actually for the Michael Jackson thing because it ties into our bus campaign that we did recently. In terms of because the thing that I got.
Can you separate us from our?
I think that certain just to quickly answer that question, I think that certain artists are very much made up by the content of their songs, whilst other artists are very much made up by the sound of their songs.
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I'm not necessarily going
to. It's a blurred line.
Recoil at Michael Jackson's music and stuff, but there's now that.
So those bits.
That feeling behind it. You're oh god, yeah. You've seen the documentary and stuff, and you've heard
people start to read between the lines and start picking out lyrical meaning and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think
but in terms of that reference, it's because the thing that inspired us to do a bus campaign. So recently we've got our faces on the side of buses
in
around Bristol.
Yeah,
there are 5 buses with our faces on for 4 weeks. Is it?
Yeah, a month.
A month of campaigns. And it came from an idea of obviously there's the Brexit. You can put any old shit on the side of a bus and people will believe that bollocks, and it works. And we just thought, well, let's just do our own spin on it. And
that's not it, Craig. It says semen.
And there was also the ad campaign which was supporting Michael Jackson, saying he's innocent and kind of shouting down the victims.
And the NHS thing as well, Boris Johnson.
Exactly. And it's just
put anything on the side of the bus.
That inspired this. And I remember the Michael Jackson thing happened at the time and we were we could literally put something on the side of a bus, guys. Like, it's just, you can literally put anything.
Smith looked into it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not that expensive.
Not actually that expensive.
Yeah.
So it's on
Wasn't too
5
bad.
buses in Bristol at any given time
Yeah.
on all the major routes for like the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, month.
Next month.
It's on for a month. Yeah,
It's on for a month.
I showed Rich yesterday. He was like, "Where's the branding? Like, where's your promos?" I was like, "Well, it just says Hat Films and have you
It's
seen
more
these
just
men?"
to just fucking make a statement.
I think
isn't it?
Yeah,
so.
it's not to gain anything apart from it's funny
Yeah,
that we can.
And I think that is reflected in our music as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
In that, like,
Don't
for
overthink
example, the Trump song we did, Drumpf. Is it actually called Drumpf?
Drumpf.
Drumpf.
we called it,
Yeah. So
up in here.
that was when Donald Trump had recently been elected president, and there was and still is all of these ridiculous sort of stories and ideas floating around this person. And we thought, fuck, let's just write about it. Like, so Drumpf,
Yeah.
Trump's family were originally German, I believe, and they were called Drumpf. That was how their surname was spelled, but they changed it to Trump. So that was something, you know.
Well, it's all about the
It's a piss take on the fact that he's so against
immigration,
and
yeah.
it's totally hypocritical. No, I don't want to.
Yeah,
It's a completely
that's the word I was
political
looking
thing, but that was the joke behind it. That was a satirical take on it.
and it was big at the time and kind of still is relevant. So
John Oliver, didn't it? Like when he did that thing about Trump. So
Yeah,
then we
it
found
was
that
funny.
and just thought, well, it would be a good idea for a song in our stream, and that was it.
And then
Not really much thought taken into it.
with Pleasure Elf, that was just a character-driven thing as well, where we
Yeah.
just thought about this fucking elf that's just this horrible piece of shit. You
and
know,
it's
like,
also a play on the whole like sexual like identity thing,
Yeah,
where it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
real points of contention, talking about it, discussing it.
Yeah.
Just pleasure yourself
Yeah,
instead.
yeah, yeah.
Like, don't affect
You
anybody.
don't need other
else.
people.
You don't
Fuck
need
'em.
anyone else. It doesn't matter if you're a boy or a girl.
Yeah.
You can pleasure yourself.
Yeah.
That's what.
Pleasure.
Anyway, going
Christmas
back to this
pleasure.
band thing.
Yes.
So I
Yeah, yeah.
I
Stuff you
asked
listen
this question not actually fully having an answer formed in my head either, but
Sure.
like and obviously things change over time, but like the things you go back to frequently, like for me, there's an sort of indie band. It's sort of an alt rock band called Brand New,
Oh, yeah.
which I listened to from about the age of about 15 in college, and I still listen to now because they're brilliant.
Have they changed much since then? Because I
Their
feel like
sounds changed a lot.
I used to like their stuff. Yeah, back at school. I haven't really
Yeah.
listened. I didn't follow them.
The sounds
afterwards.
are much more like evolved and more interesting and complex, and just, you know, it's less teenagers jamming around in their garage and more like trying to think up other things, and it's still brilliant. Equally, I think Bon Iver is up there with some of my favorite music, simply because the sound is quite unique, or was quite unique when they came about, and I just think they're geniuses in the I love the sound they create.
Very emotive.
Yeah,
music.
yeah,
I feel
yeah.
Like it's just, it puts you in a place. which is
Exactly.
Pretty cool for.
Yeah, anything
like,
that
I-
evokes something that's like higher than reality itself.
Yeah, like I was listening to Bon Iver when we were in the Yukon, for example,
Yeah.
and that was like a perfect setting
Yeah.
for it. You know, like just it's very it doesn't really push an agenda or anything like that, or doesn't, you know, it's just very, very atmospheric, and I love that. Like, but what about you? Anything in particular that you
It's really hard.
like? What's your favorite like rock and metal band? Would you say?
We didn't mention that he was in a band once.
Yeah.
As well. We, like
It's not. I don't really consider
heavy
Nuridium.
metal. Yeah, but you did
it.
it.
Was
though.
like, it was hardcore, like thrash metal, called Nuridium, which is like a Celtic made-up word. I think. I don't
Sure.
think it means anything.
Well, why not? It sounds quite.
I think.
good. Sounds like a Pokemon.
Yeah, Nuridium. I
But
choose you.
But you were like going to studios and stuff. Like,
Yeah, we
properly
recorded
recording things.
Yeah,
and
we
that sort
recorded
of
an EP.
stuff.
It was fun. It was fun
Yeah.
to do. It was fun to turn up to a village hall surrounded by people that hate that sort of thing, a very religious area, and tear it up, and just feel
My
a little bit
God.
rebellious,
Yeah.
you know, and just wear stupid t-shirts and stuff like that. And we did a gig. If anyone knows the metal scene, Architects were headlining, and we performed for them.
I've heard of
Really?
them.
Yeah.
I've
I
heard
have
of
heard of them as
Architects.
well,
Yeah.
So, you know, high-profile band at the time. That's us. Before the ski lodge burned down
Ah, yeah.
in Yeovil.
Classic.
Sorry.
There was
we
this
performed in this-
dry ski slope
Oh,
in
right,
Yeovil.
okay, it got burnt down.
Insurance
That's
scam.
so
probably.
ironic for like.
It was
something
actually a
that's-
really cool venue.
It was a cool
like,
venue.
It was a
Oh,
really
really?
good venue, yeah. And you get really wasted. So it used to be just a dry ski slope. So you
Right.
go up there, you could learn to snowboard and ski. I say learn. I did it for like 6 months, and it's horrible.
Fine,
Like
yeah.
falling over on it is like
Just-
pain. All right.
Yeah, I've got a tragic backstory for that one too.
Exactly
Oh.
right. And so
Being dragged up the ski slope.
eventually they kind of like got rid. Well, it was still there. It was still this massive hill in Yeovil, and the slope was still there. But they kind of turned the main building next to it into a venue, which is
Yeah.
actually a really cool
It was
venue.
cool.
Had like balconies up around it and stuff like
Yeah.
that. but people would get like wasted and then just go and run about on this fucking like literally.
Oh my god!
It was so imagine a grid of metal, and then on top of that grid are these really harsh plastic brush-like things, right?
Yeah.
And that's what the slope was, and so they keep it wet, and as you skid over it, like the brushes sort of move. But it was just like you fall over. It's so painful. It ruined your skin. Like it was just a
Imagine
horrible.
falling over onto a welcome mat.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
God, was it that? Like,
sliding down a
Jesus
hill,
fucking
and
Christ.
underneath the welcome mat was just metal. It was the worst.
I fell off. I probably told this story many times, but you know the little seats you sit on to take you up
So
to
I
the
had
top?
a little lift that would drag you up.
It's like a singular seat with a pole in the middle, and I fell off, and I held on
Yeah.
because I didn't want to get trampled by all the people behind me because they're all like in a big line. So I just got dragged up the ski slope, welcome mat style. My trousers got pulled off, and my legs got
Trousers
torn
came off.
up. Musical,
You
really.
got road rash to a degree on a ski.
Oh, it's the worst. It's traumatizing. It was a birthday.
Jesus, so it's a good thing it burnt down. Jesus.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
burnt it.
There it is.
Anyway, yeah, that's
years later. Confession.
band.
So what bands do you
Yeah.
think have really influenced you?
Well,
So
what
I
do you go? What's
Or
your
artists,
go-to,
or
at least
individual
now?
artists. as
So
well.
artists and that sort of thing, I've always been into the rock metal scene. I think that's what really inspired me to get electric guitar. I like the sound, the visceral nature of it, and like just like the sound of a distorted guitar chugging away.
Yeah.
So Metallica were, perfect at doing that. They kind of perfected that style. So they're very much a go-to. AC/DC,
Classic.
classic rock.
Yeah. I
They
put,
make
I
cool
put
sounds.
AC/DC up there with mine as well because it's just timelessly good.
Yeah.
like it is.
I just love 80s metal. Like
Yeah.
that sort of thing is amazing. Static X. I'm going to do a big shout out to
Static
Static
X.
X.
Forgot about
Need
Static
for
X.
Speed
Jesus.
Underground 2.
Yes, that's literally, yeah, I remember that.
I
one.
love
God.
Static X.
Fuck.
It's that. No, I do. It's that blend of like
heard
hardcore,
one
like
song, I think.
industrial electronica
Yeah.
with metal. It's just
Yeah.
like, it's fucking aggressive.
Yeah.
I like that, and I will not hear a bad word about them.
But I only know the one song, which is from Need for Speed. Which,
What was it
it
called?
was good. It was.
Can't
It really
remember, but it
fits
was
well
good.
with you racing around. It was good.
Get to the Gone.
Speaking of
It's
which,
probably one of the most popular ones. I don't.
Black and white.
Deftones.
Deftones.
I think for
Deftones,
me,
solid tune.
like Deftones are just quite an outlier in my musical taste.
Yeah.
In that, like, I don't usually have that many. I'm not sure Deftones really classifies as metal as such. It's sort of like this sort of dreamy.
It's ambient,
Yeah.
drone metal.
Like some of their stuff is hard as fuck. Don't get me wrong, but like a lot of it isn't, and I think they're fantastic.
Yeah, really cool sound.
Yeah,
love it.
like absolutely love
I
it.
will say it's not all just rock and metal for me as well.
Yeah.
Like I very much
Bruno.
enjoy Bruno Mars.
He does.
I do love it.
He
So,
loves
would
Bruno Mars.
you consider that like a guilty pleasure? Like just like
No,
oh,
I don't-
a bit of
He
Bruno
said
Mars?
this a couple of years ago. He was
Yeah.
like, I just listened to Bruno Mars. And I'm just like, and this was when Bruno Mars was like brand new, right?
But it's not like those ones that hit the charts. There's a song called
I wanna be a millionaire. Is that him?
No, yeah, well, I don't know.
Yeah,
is
that is
it?
him. That's the guy. Yeah.
I don't like the Grenade one. That one sucks. But
Oh, yeah.
Moonshine is a really good song.
Right,
Like, if you've
okay.
heard Moonshine before,
don't think I
I
have.
haven't.
I try and detach the artist from
Yeah,
like
sure.
the fucking stigma around is bullshit anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
I like.
I think
all
that is
songs.
bollocks. Yeah, like, you shouldn't
Yeah.
like limit yourself.
You
by going,
like
oh my
fucking
god,
Katy
you like
Perry."
this like we just did to you.
Yeah.
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 But in terms of like, if
funny.
they've got the occasional track that's like
Moonshine's really
good,
good.
then fair play. Like,
But yeah,
why
I like that kind of song. I also like soundscapes, like soundtracks to movies and games.
Yeah.
I will listen to death, like Zimmer, all that kind of stuff.
Skyrim soundtrack's amazing. Like
Yeah.
that just gives you such a kind of like a nice. Like, it gives
Just
you
like
the feeling that you're
yeah.
there, like, and you can
The
just picture
atmosphere
yourself in
that's
that place.
evoked by that, they're designed to do that, and it's
There's
really
a
good.
theatre element to it, and,
There really is,
and
yeah.
I think that links in with the Elon Musk thing we did. Not to
Yeah.
put it up there, like
sure,
you know,
but like in terms of our style, like what we tried to go for this
Yeah.
80s soundscape stuff.
that was one of my favorite things that we made because exactly we could do this like let's find a stupid sound on the keyboard and make it like a transition sound,
Yeah.
and then like
that literally just ran the entire way through. I think.
Yeah.
Through
like
several
that
songs.
felt like quite an easy album to make because it flowed really well, and
Yeah.
there was that theatre element to it where we're
There's a
just
story.
we've imagined this world, and we're
Yeah.
like, okay, what's going on now? Okay,
Yeah, that was
It
really
adds
good
more
fun.
gravitas to
Yeah.
a song that otherwise would just be
Yeah.
just basic lyrics.
And just having those fun ad lib bits in the middle.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Crockerman coming into a nightclub, which is just
I think it appealed to all of
hardcore
our
rocking club.
yeah.
like we like the music production element of that. We like
Yeah.
the lyrical and the
Yeah,
story and the lore building of it. Yeah.
And as individual
It's good.
songs, they all like the main ones all sounded like really good. Like,
Yeah.
I liked them. I like
Yeah.
even when it got to the end with the acoustic Santa. What was it called again?
Secret Santa.
No, not Secret
Oh.
Santa.
Oh, yeah. It's
God,
the one
what was that?
It's the Kevin
It was
Spacey
based
one.
on the Kevin
Oh,
Spacey.
Slayman.
Slayman.
The
I'm
Slayman.
living life as a Slayman.
Which obviously was when he just said, "I'm coming out as a gay man" after being accused of.
Living life as a sleigh man.
Yeah, he said, "I'm
Crazy
living
shit.
life as a gay man now."
Yeah,
And
that
it's
was
like,
it.
that doesn't excuse any what?
That's a weird addition to
That
what
was his
otherwise
counter
shouldn't
statement
be.
for these sexual allegations
Yeah,
that came
yeah.
out.
I've always been private with my sex life.
Yeah.
I do feel it's time
You
to
still
say that
you harassed people.
He was
though.
trying to do the
Doesn't
Donald
matter
Trump
if you're
thing by
gay or not.
distracting and saying,
Yeah.
he's gay. Is that going to be the headline?" No, it wasn't the headline. Sorry, Kevin.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Anyway, then we
but yeah,
took the
that's-
piss out. No one really got that reference.
No.
it's because it was the song kind of worked in its own merit.
Yeah, it was
guess
quite.
Like it was a very subtle reference.
I love the music video that somebody made to that as well.
Yeah,
It-
the
animation.
Yeah,
That's
the
on our
animation
channel, I think,
was
yeah.
It's on our
so
channel.
good.
Yeah, it's really good.
It just had like, I love the bit where like the crocodile guy with like the hat and his hair flowing, just like sailing through the air, like just like this is it, this is my
Yeah.
life.
That's
now.
it. We created that world, and it's just it inspired like fan fiction and stuff. And that was a really good album.
I think that's why bands like Gorillaz and stuff like that do so well, because there is this whole ethos and mystery
A
around,
narrative
like,
around-
a narrative
Yeah,
around,
yeah,
like
yeah.
who are these characters, their designs, their costumes. and
Yeah.
I love that sort of shit.
What's his name? Damon Albarn? Is it?
Alban.
Albarn,
Yeah,
yeah.
Albarn.
That's
yeah.
probably the best thing he's done in that sense,
Yeah.
in terms of like
Yeah.
he's done side projects since, and they've always kind of seemed a bit shit.
Is that the guy from Blur?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he did
I
Blur.
hate Blur.
Yeah, but he did Blur. And there was the whole Britpop thing with
I think
them and
we all-
Oasis.
We all pretty much all hate Britpop.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Britpop kind of sucks, yeah.
There's only like one song which is like on all the bank adverts now, some shit that I hear from Blur. But
Which one? Not Bittersweet
it's like
Symphony.
Oh.
You know the one?
Oh,
That's
that's Blur.
yeah, and it was one of
So
their.
the
To be fair, it's one of their
orchestral
better
intro.
songs.
Did they sample that as well?
I think they might have done
Because
I'm not
quite a few of
100%
those,
sure.
not that it's a bad thing sampling, you know, it's totally
Yeah.
fine. But I know that a couple of their big hooks are samples from elsewhere.
Yeah, but that was a good one. But doing Gorillaz is probably the best thing, because you create these cartoon characters,
Yeah.
which is so much it's transformative.
It's like I was doing a lot of research into Slipknot, because obviously I saw them live, which is very similar to Gorillaz in terms of musical style.
But obviously, in terms of their theme and styling,
Well,
they've done,
they are manufactured
Yeah.
down to like their what they're supposed to do on stage. So the clown guy
So
is
the guy who
actually,
jerks off his nose. Which
No,
one is the one
that's-
who
that's
like,
someone else. But there's a clown that like throws himself around on stage. He's the mastermind behind Slipknot. So
Right.
he put these guys together, and like their design, their merch, and even their story and everything like that is designed to be like mass appealing and like, you know, super well-oiled machine. So they come out on stage and they're exactly what you want them to be. And then everyone has their character. They all have these jumpsuits. There's a lot of like mystery, like what are they under the mask, that sort of
Yeah.
thing. And the whole maggots thing, which is what their fans are called.
Oh, really? Okay.
And their whole ethos is like, we are not like the conformity of government. We are like separate from that. And I thought that was very clever. And obviously they got really fucking big as a result of it,
Yeah.
and could merchandise the whole shebang.
God, they've been going for years now, haven't they?
They were really good. Really good
Yeah.
at
The
talent.
Duality? What was it? There was a really good one.
Duality.
Was it Duality? Yeah, that was a good one.
I would be remiss to not mention rap and hip
I was
hop.
going to say, you listen to a lot of that now. Like,
Yeah.
I've listened to hip hop for years and years and years
Bit
and
of
years.
old Yee.
Yeah, yay.
Yay.
Well, no, not just.
Yeezy.
So
Yee.
like,
Yee.
so this is the thing about separating the person from the music as well.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really important. Like we were talking about Michael Jackson earlier. Like, you know, Michael Jackson has written I
It's
don't
amazing music.
has created. Let's say, and, you know, he might have had writers and things like that. But yeah, absolutely, some incredible music, absolutely amazing stuff. Now Kanye West obviously is off the reservation in a lot of respects, and that is a personal issue
Yeah,
of his.
yeah.
You know, like you know.
Well, now he is. I mean, when his first stuff came out, there was this element of kind of grassroots. He's
yeah.
built it from nothing, and yeah, there was something really to applaud in that.
Now he's a
Like,
Well,
God.
he was a producer for a long time,
Yeah.
right? So he was his kid producer, making some really great tracks for other rappers to rap over. And there's a lot of stuff you can read and see about that, about how he sort of came up and all that sort of stuff. But like rap and hip hop in general, I've always absolutely loved because of lyrical
oh yeah,
content.
God, yeah.
So lyrical content, but not also lyrical content, but the rhythm of words.
Yeah.
Like for me, I always love poetry like when I was growing up, like doing English and all that sort of stuff, like poetry was my go-to to get an easy grade, you know, like just rhyming couplets with some like actual meaning behind it, you know. And if you listen to people like Kendrick Lamar and these sort of people, they say the same things. Like, not saying that I'm like Kendrick Lamar, but I think that rap and hip hop definitely has a focus on wordsmithing and that sort of thing, and there's something just about the rhythm of speech that really gets to me, you know, like really,
it's appealing.
Yeah, I love it, and hip hop and rap can do all kinds of things. Like, I think originally I got into it when I was playing basketball years ago, because quite a few of my friends were listening to it, and I was like, oh, what's this? Oh, this is quite funny. And at the time, it was more of like the MOP.
Right, okay, yeah.
What you want now? Yeah. What? Like that kind of stuff.
It's
like,
interesting how like certain music genres attach themselves to sports. Like basketball, hip hop. Croquet, metal.
You hear that even more now with games and their influence on what tracks are in like the next NBA game, and you know, you can see that
soundtracks
more
the general
impactful
thing. So like Astroneer, for example, and things like that. We've got these really
ambient,
beautiful
whimsical
ambient music, and that's really interesting as well. And
I think soundtracks to loads of stuff has been a massive inspiration to like loads of things I've done with music and editing.
Yeah.
Like what film was it? Eternal Sunshine, the Spots.
Oh yeah.
That soundtrack,
incredible.
was so cool. Like, I just thought it was a really good soundtrack. Really fitted with the theme. It just sounded really good. And like that type of stuff. Like sometimes I'll hear a song and I'll go, fuck, I wish I could use this to edit something cool to.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like a bit of the other way around, like where you're like, oh, this song would be so fucking good doing this, and this. And you know, sometimes I'll find something on Epidemic and I'll be like, oh, this really works in this scenario.
I really think that's what makes Stranger Things elevated above the rest.
Exactly.
It's retro wave. Example. That I love that style of music.
The use of color and sound in Stranger Things. Like I absolutely, I love the music this season even more than ever. And then combine that with the color of, like, and the way they're shooting things.
It's all like neon retro way outrun
like, like I've seen people just be like, oh, I'm really like nostalgic for the 80s, and I wasn't even born then, just from watching this thing, which gives you this complete, you're drenched in the 80s.
Well, it's like it's a refined look back, isn't it? It's like taking all the best bits of that period
and making it feel almost new and current as well. Like you know, like you say, it feels like you were there. Like, there's something about that. You're like, oh, I kind of recognize these things, and wow, this aesthetic is so cool.
And it's so different from now.
But it will influence us. This is the thing. So our influence is
like when we did Neon Musk. That was. We were like,
H&M.
So if you look at fashion and style, I bet that would be
H&M literally has Stranger Things style apparel.
Yeah,
now,
like
so.
Last couple of years, 80s is, and 90s now more.
Big perms when they come back. When can men wear big fucking huge hair?
Well, it's entirely up to you, Trott.
Yeah, you can
be the trendsetter.
It's time now. It's time, I think.
But and Drive as well. Like, remember Drive's soundtrack?
Oh, so good.
Like, fuck, some of those songs just really worked with the theme. Like,
brought Kavinsky to the front, front, didn't it?
Kavinsky, Nightcall.
Yeah.
So that type of impact, and also like as weird as it sounds, like when I was younger, like Matrix had some really cool music in there. That obviously, you know, with the whole bullet time thing, that was just an inspiring thing. Like trying to do edits
all
and
that
stuff,
sort of
thinking,
stuff.
Fuck, that's really cool. Like, I want to make something cool with that.
Absolutely. Blade.
Yeah.
It's like Prodigy style stuff, right?
But it's the worst thing when it's just like you want to make all that stuff, but you know that it's all copywritten. You can't use it on our content.
But you can use it to influence you.
Yeah, exactly.
Be like, I want to make it in that style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very inspirational.
And I guess that's the way music makers can think. I guess you call yourself a music maker if you've made music, right? It counts.
Yeah, I mean, come up with anything. You can make music. That's the nice thing about it. Like, whether or not it's good is up to public forum. But
no one can create music in a vacuum. Everything is based on influence, right? So I don't think you should be ashamed.
You physically can't make music in a vacuum as well, which is interesting. Like, sound doesn't travel through a vacuum.
Yeah, that's true. Particles aren't colliding.
Damn. You find with like hip hop and stuff, like the production isn't as like applauded, I guess, as other stuff, which I kind of find surprising because some of that stuff, some of it sounds so good. Like, I mean, I actually like a lot of Drake's earlier stuff. Yeah. Just for the production alone.
Yeah.
But
the sound. Yeah.
Yeah. But you see it sometimes with our stuff as well, where people are just like, I don't know, I think they prefer the acoustic stuff over the digital stuff. But
you think so?
Ironically, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I
see a lot more comments on it. I don't know whether this is necessarily a consensus, but you see a lot more people preferring live music, right? Whereas obviously the digital stuff does take longer. There's a bit more to it, but like, it's just a background.
Guess it loses that like
because you're just pressing a button when you've done it.
Yeah,
I think the challenge with digital versus live is, and why perhaps you think that is because live is done in that moment, so they can see you making it. Whilst with digital, it's the finished product that counts.
So then you end up just pressing a button.
Yeah,
like, that's the track.
For a lot of people, it's like I was there for that making of the thing.
But the finished product, like if you go digital, I think almost certainly is going to sound better than an acoustic recording. Like it's just not easier. It's just more equipped to create a better sound digital, I think. But I mean, we haven't done enough music to make a fair comparison. Like,
but ultimately, we have converted a lot of that stuff that we've done digitally into the live action stuff. Well, the live stuff we're doing on stage,
which you'll see at YogCon.
Yes, indeed,
which is quite exciting.
But Craig has a band as well, doesn't he?
I think it came from.
It's been a while.
Way back when.
Way back when.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. That's actually
I do have a band. Yeah.
the band name.
Yeah.
What's it like being in a band, a real one?
A real one.
Does it make you feel like a big man, Craig?
I feel like a big man on stage with my guitar.
Yeah. I've seen him live, guys. I know
much
you
prefer
the
you actually came.
Yeah,
Trott,
yeah.
Strangely,
I
always
had the dentist. Yeah.
We're playing next Thursday if you want to come, Trott.
Yeah.
Oh.
Are you actually?
Yeah. Well, we do it because
here we go.
Little plug now.
Do it.
We've got an EP out next Thursday
or
Wednesday, whenever next week sometime, and we're playing Bristol Thursday, then Winchester Friday, then Brighton Saturday, and then Cardiff
tour.
Sunday. A little tour for it.
Damn.
That's a bigger tour than our world tour, which
It is.
literally...
Are you concerned that all that driving won't translate to sales?
Oh, it won't translate to sale. You can get it free on Spotify.
Still the fun of it.
But it's fun to do it. I feel like you guys just do it because you really enjoy
fun, yeah, like the amount of money
live.
we've sunk into this band and had nothing back. It's like, I don't want to count it, but that's not why you do it. It's, it's just a hobby.
Passion.
Yeah, it was super fun. Like yesterday, we were at a studio practicing for our live performance, and up until now for YogCon, we've been doing it through headphones, which has been fine. But yesterday, when we like hooked up the speakers and stuff, it's like fuck.
And we all had earplugs in, and we were like, I can't hear myself.
Deafening.
But like, it was very enjoyable just having that like shaking essentially. I suppose you know, it's very very fun.
Making noise.
Yeah, like you say, it's just good fun to
very
like
different atmosphere.
We'll be louder on Saturday, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, because we're outside, so it's gonna. I think it sounded louder than it was because we're in an enclosed room.
It bounced back around,
But we've got to fill an outdoor space, so it's got to be louder. Like the drum kit will be mic'd up and everything as well, like to amplify that.
Ooh, it's gonna be nuts.
It's interesting the point you made about like doing it for the love of it as well, like which is where I guess it harks back to us saying like, you know, if we're not in the mood to do it, we're gonna make shit like Newton or whatever.
Don't force it.
Because what song we were trying to make not long ago? It was the Fish Off. So basically, we had a T-shirt which was Fish Our Friends.
Oh god, yeah.
And the idea was, okay, we're gonna make a music video and we'll promote it, do a big
Explain.
thing. But we don't have an explanation for it. There was no explanation for it.
No.
There is no hidden
like
message.
basically
it was just
Harry
a funny, cool thing that
Harry's coming up with these things because we thought the words looked good, and you know, like he found some really cool images on a historical archive of a fish, and he said, "Oh, I put like some," because he basically was inspired by Off-White, who are a streetwear brand, fashion brand that use random fucking sayings as the cause to each of their lines. So one of them was like, what's good off?
I can't remember.
Seeing things was a tagline.
They also put like in quotations like, you know, shoe. Very obvious things on what it is. And
but yeah, we tried to write a song for that, as Ross was saying, and like it started off as like, okay, there's this sort of scientist who's like, oh my god, the fish are invading.
I felt like we were reverse engineering because I made the track and then we're like, okay, now we need to kind of fit lyrics into this, and it just never came together and it never worked, and we're just like, that's kind of an example of like forcing it, like trying to make something fit where it didn't fit.
Yeah.
So
I was like saying, can you guys come up with another pleasure elf?
Yeah,
like
it's just like that's not easy to do.
Can't do that.
And it's frustrating at times because like you say, making music is fun, and like I was looking through some music that I made like just for myself a while back, and like most of the shit that I made that I like was from 2012, and I'm like, I wish I could still make, like, I probably could obviously if I sat down and like thought about it, but like there's so many factors involved in making good music that, like you say, you can't force it. And I don't know how professional musicians do it.
Becomes detrimental.
Yeah.
Like I went down so many rabbit holes on figuring out sound as a soundscape, like knowing that there's a limited frequency. If you have too many instruments in this upper end, they're just going to cancel each other out, and just
and
like
equalizing it so that
I got so bogged down with like the production element that I wasn't making music anymore. It was just like I was adding compressors to instruments that didn't exist yet. It's like
that's why I hate mastering at the end, because on Logic, you'll make the track and it'll sound great, and then you're like, now you've got to master it, because when you output that, it's going to sound like shit. It's going to like everything's distorted or whatever. You need to balance everything. You need to equalize each track.
Yeah.
You need to factor the kind of speakers it's going to be played
Exactly,
through.
yeah.
It's gonna be
That's the
played in
thing.
headphones.
It's got to be as neutral as possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I find that the most frustrating part. Like,
It's a good thing we've got Mr.
Can
Sam.
you help me? Yeah,
Yeah.
Mr. Sam comes in and I'm like, thank you, Audio Savant.
Yeah.
And it's hard to step away from something as well,
Yeah.
isn't it? Like, even when writing, not just even in mastering, when you're like, all right, I think that sounds good. Yeah. Oh, God. Wait, I hate that now. And then you step back. Or
God, I've mastered a track and then I've hated it afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird.
Like,
I think there's a level of knowledge where when you become quite knowledgeable about a thing, it becomes detrimental because you feel like everything has to fit into this certain way of thinking, like knowing scales and things like that. Well, that shouldn't work because it's in this key, so therefore we shouldn't play that note. But I think you need to go beyond that knowledge and like that's why savants come in.
And there's probably something to say for why musicians take a lot of psychedelics or have in the past taken
Just to
loads
unlock.
of because it tries to take you change your perspective or try to help you see outside the box.
Just not care about the box.
I'm not
maybe.
saying all musicians now take psychedelics, but there was a period of time, you know, like when
Real good music came
Well,
out.
Beatles
exactly the
were
Beatles
influenced by a lot of that, right?
yeah.
I think the more you care about something, the more you try and like force it to work, the less successful it becomes.
But as weird as it sounds, I don't think I listen to as much music now as I'd want to.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, because we, you know, I guess it depends on the time of day you come in and stuff, but like with work, and then you'll come home and you'll get dinner and stuff, and then you'll just be like, oh, I would want to chill out, but then you want to hang out with your girlfriend or whatever, and then you have that limited time, like between walking to work or whatever, that you're gonna
and oftentimes
try and find new music, which I used to find new music all the time, and now I find it so fucking hard to find anything that I like.
And often
Whether
you'll
it's I'm
just
picky
fall
or
back
not.
on like I feel like just listen to that again.
I go back and listen to my favorites, but I love finding new music, because there's that moment where you find something new, you're like, fuck, this is really good. I'm like so glad I found it. But
It's a new kind of dopamine rush.
yeah,
Isn't it?
but like SoundCloud's so filled with shit now. It's hard. But yeah, I used to spend hours trying to find music,
Yeah.
and I just find that I don't as much now, which is a shame.
We change. Our lifestyle changes us.
Because it's the same thing as in terms of making music. I'd love to make more music, but it takes so long to kind of, like you say, you go through the theory of it, you start like putting something together, then you'll put it down, and then you won't go back to it for ages.
And there was a time in 2012 we had all the time in the world to do it.
Yeah.
And now we
We
think
did.
about like how much money am I losing or time wasting time when I could be doing something more productive elsewhere.
I find out I write my best music when I'm like really melancholy and depressed as well, and like that's not usually something that you try and put yourself into.
Right, here we go.
Like,
Let's think sad thoughts.
Yeah, like
you have to have like that alone time to kind of think. Okay,
Yeah,
I'll make something now quiet, like on my own.
yeah.
Well, on that note, that's probably the extent of our hat chat today.
Yeah.
This is,
There's so much to talk about with music.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, we probably didn't cover half the stuff we probably.
well, we didn't even,
covered,
like,
but,
yeah.
How scratch the
there was-
surface.
Yeah.
I mean, there were
We'll
several
have to do
questions.
another episode at some point.
Of various different themes, not necessarily to do with music.
It sounds like they could all go off into their own podcast.
They probably could.
The questions
They probably
podcast.
could.
Yeah.
That could be a good one for next time, actually.
Yeah, could be.
I think so. Yeah, I think I'll leave these for now.
Sure.
Because we've covered a lot, and there might be funny news next week, so you never know.
Could well be.
Insane news.
Well, we
What
hope-
ending?
You enjoyed this episode of music. If you've got any comments or thoughts, please send them to hatchat@hat-films.com. We might just do another little episode about music at some point because we've got so much to talk about.
And Fingles as well.
Fingles.
Your own
If you
little
like
musical
making
Fingles.
music,
Indeed.
please send it to the same email address in MP3 form. Don't give a shit about FLAC.
And I guess we also thank NordVPN. They've sponsored our stream today.
They did.
I don't know if it technically counts as a Hat Chat. I guess it is a Hat Chat sponsor. To a
Our
degree.
first one.
Our first one.
Lovely.
So
Please
that's
check
pretty
out
That's a nice thing, right?
nordvpn.com/safehat. You get 75% off a 3-year deal, and you get an extra month free. If you don't know what VPN is, go on their website. They've got all the information about it. But essentially, protect yourself and also access region-locked stuff and streaming services.
It's the best option. There's a
Yeah.
lot of dodgy VPNs out there, and NordVPN actually seem to be.
It's easy as well. You can also
Yeah.
get it on your mobile phone, so you
Nice.
get VPN on your phone.
And if you want to support this podcast directly, if you like listen to these, you want more of them, go to our Patreon.
Yeah.
You can support us there, patreon.com/hatfilms. And that helps us out a lot. And it helps keep this going. So,
It does, and there will be a list of all the people that supported us at the end of this video, which is available on the Hat Chat Podcast YouTube channel. Just search for that on YouTube, and you'll find our horrible faces and all the visual elements that come with these episodes. Sometimes Craig puts up websites and images and videos.
And sometimes there's a dog here. So
And sometimes there's a dog here as a
always
bonus.
nice.
Yeah, there's a whole episode with a dog. So If you want to see her, come to our channel.
So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Good day.
Bye.
Bye.